Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. For today's video, it's gonna be more kind of a foundation diary. It's not a foundation review, it's actually my first impression on the Fenty Beauty Hydrating Foundation. Now, intentionally, this was supposed to be a full face of Fenty, which you guys will still see in my upcoming video. That would be my next upload. But I wanted to show you guys what happened during that first take. I was very excited because I had some products that were new, and then I have some other products that, you know, they've been my all-time favorites for a very long time, and I've recommended in my Instagram and to my friends and to everybody that I know. So I was very excited about recording that video. What I didn't take into account is that there's a specific reason why I'm not a huge fan of first impressions, only because foundation tends to be very tricky. There's a lot of factors that, you know, affect a foundation, if you might say, your skincare, primers and stuff like that. And it's very funny because sometimes when you think of a brand as a whole, you might think that the products all should work together, and that's one of the main reasons why I enjoy doing full face of XYZ. But when recording this video, it was actually very different, only because I never expect to have this outcome with the foundation. I'm gonna show you guys basically the process and what happened, and then I'll come back at the end and then I'll tell you guys my final thoughts. And obviously I've tried the foundation a couple more times after this one time. If you are excited about foundation diaries, consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload. Now I'm gonna leave you guys with the footage of the very first time I tried this foundation, and I'll come back at the end. So for primer, we're gonna be using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Insta Touch primer. Now this primer is supposed to be a soft matte finish. It's supposed to help you control your oils, and it's also supposed to blur a little bit the appearance of pores. Now for foundation, we're going to be using the Pro Filt'R Hydrating Longwear foundation. I have it in the shade 145, and this is supposed to be for light skin with warm olive undertones, and it comes in 50 shades. Now this foundation is supposed to be hydrating, medium to full coverage for all skin tones, long wearing, and it's very lightweight. Now it comes in a pump, and as you can see, it's very runny, very liquidy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my Sigma Flat Kabuki F80, and I'm gonna start blending it, buffing it in. Now I personally like to apply my foundation with brushes, but you could definitely do a sponge, which I'll do for the second layer. Well, as you can see, the shade is a little too light for me. I think for the winter it would be nice, but for right now I think it's a bit too light. But I do like the undertone. Like I said, it has more of that olive undertone, so I could usually make them work even if they're a little too light. I think that's my trend, like in all my videos. Lately I'm always, oh, the shade is too light. But in my defense, I bought most of these things when I was still in my winter shade, and I did not think about the fact that I was gonna get a little darker. Okay, so I'm gonna apply a little bit more, and I'm gonna blend it with my sponge. This is my Fenty Beauty sponge. I forget the name of it, but I'll put it right here. So I just want to see how buildable the foundation is. Settling in, settling down. I'm gonna see if the foundation oxidizes a little bit, but so far I really enjoy the undertone. Obviously the shade, it's way too light. This is what the foundation looks like. First impressions, I like the color, the coverage. I think it's pretty nice, but I don't feel like it's fully melting into my skin. I think I still see a little bit, it's kind of sitting on top, but I'm not sure if that has to do with the primers, but we shall see. For concealer, we're going to be using the Pro Filt'R Instant Retouch Concealer. I have mine in the shade 145, and this is for light skin with warm olive undertones. This concealer comes in 50 shades. It's a creamy longwear crease-proof liquid concealer that delivers light as air, medium to full coverage, and it has a soft matte finish. I'm not gonna apply too much. I just want to see the shade. Same, it has a very nice undertone, but it's definitely too light for me. I'm gonna be looking like a ghost today. Falling in love, not falling out. Oh no. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of the concealer. I'm gonna apply a little bit more. It does says that it has full coverage, but I don't think that's the case, at least not on my skin. For this concealer, you definitely have to do it with the sponge, because with the brush, it was extremely streaky and it was not stain put. So yeah, definitely the sponge will give you a nicer finish. So now to set the under eye, I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Instant Retouch Setting Powder. I have mine in the shade Butter. So I'm going to take it in a small brush like this, and I'm just going to start blending it under my eye. Each of us both done. I'm not going to apply too much. I just want it to set a little bit. I am not a fan of the foundation or the concealer. Like, I feel like it's breaking apart. I'm gonna do some shots with my phone. But it's not fully melting, and the foundation doesn't look that nice. I don't know if it has to do with the primer that I use. So maybe this foundation will work with a different type of primer, same as with the concealer. I honestly don't really like it. So I'm gonna go wash my face and maybe apply it without the primer and see if in fact that gives me a different finish. So far I'm not a fan. In the crown, a crown, a crown, a king and a queen royally bound. Yeah, both called it from the beginning. Called it. We knew that there had to be us. Knew that there had to be us. We do what we gotta do to stay winning, winning. The fuss and the fights will keep them trust. And you make me wanna say, I love you better today than yesterday. Every day is gonna play out the same, the same, the same, the same. Hey, I love you better today than yesterday. Every day is gonna play out the same. It's gonna play out the same. Okay, so if I'm being quite honest, even after changing the primers, I definitely did notice a bigger difference, like as far as like using a grippy primer obviously helps the foundation a lot. Now, as far as the concealer goes, I wouldn't use it with this specific powder because although it looks a little bit better than it did the first time, I'm still able to see how it is kind of like breaking apart. I don't know if you guys can see it, like underneath my eye. Just the combo of these, I wouldn't recommend you using them together. The foundation and the concealer have a beautiful finish if you use a grippy primer, and then maybe set it with a different type of powder, not with the Fenty powder, because as you guys could see, it does look very smooth. That powder is really good. Like I said, if you have very oily skin with other foundations, I've tried it with practically all the foundations I have in my collection, and I've never came across to this issue. But I think we're in a good place now, so we can actually move on. Growing as one, not growing apart. Apart. Say what we mean, say it from the heart. From the heart. Wrinkles and grays, don't be alarmed, because you're safe with me. The beautiful signs. These these bronzers are fairly new, but they're very, very nice. I fell in love with them. Yeah, this is not working.
my story so far, so far. Both called it from the beginning. We called it, we called it. We knew that there had to be an us. Knew that there had to be an us. Do what we gotta do to stay winning, winning. Fights and fights will keep trust. And you make me wanna say, I love you better today than yesterday. And every day is gonna play out the same, the same, the same. Gonna play out the same. I love you better today than yesterday. And every day is gonna play out the same. It's gonna play out the same. La da 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 da. La da 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 Singing I love you. I love you better today than yesterday. Every day is gonna play out the same. I love you better today than yesterday. Every day is gonna play out the same.
It's been a couple of days after I recorded this video. Actually, it's been about a week, and I've continued to test out the foundation, and I think now I have full opinion and thoughts about it. Over the past few days, I've tried it with many of my other primers and many of my other techniques, if you want to say, and honestly, I've never came across a foundation that was that hard to work with. Now, when I tried this foundation, I was actually very excited because, like I said in the video, I had tried the original Fenty foundation, and that one was very drying for my skin. And although I have combination skin, for whatever reason, I was never able to make it work. So when they came out with the hydrating foundation, I was actually very excited because I said, well, maybe since the other one was very drying, maybe this one would work really good. I do find myself using a lot of product. The coverage it's okay, but it's not something that I would tell you to run out and buy. You know, when I bought it, and I bought it online, they actually recommend, like, they sell you different bundles. Like if you have combination skin or if you have dry skin, they have different options. So I actually bought it like that. I bought it with that specific primer because, I mean, the primer was a repurchase for me because it was something that I actually really did enjoy. So I was like, oh, might as well. You know, it comes in a bundle. They recommend it together. It's for my skin type. It is the tone that they recommend. And it turned out not to be the case. Unfortunately for me, that foundation is a complete pass. I don't want to use it. I don't like it. And it's not even because of the shade, because actually the undertone of the shade, it's perfect. But I find myself having to reach for a lot of different products in order to make it work. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload. Stay tuned for my full face of Fenty because that one is coming up next. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you had the same issue with this foundation. Let me know if it was just me. Maybe I got a bad foundation. Who knows? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.